Hey, everybody, welcome back to Two Car Guys. I'm Adam. That's
What's up?
John. And this week we are going to talk about car news, something we haven't done in a while, but one of the episodes we had that was one of our better episodes. So we've got a lot of
Yeah.
car content to talk about today. So, John, where should we start?
I don't know, man. There's a lot going on in the industry. A lot, a lot happening, man. So I guess let's kick it off with the Aston Martin,
Oh,
Aston
that's
Martin
right.
Vantage release. Let's go, man.
Yeah. So last Thursday, I was invited to the Aston Martin Vantage release in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And got to go see the car in the flesh for the first time. And as you know, and most of the people who are listening know, I've been a little hesitant on the car, just because I have a soft spot for the one I've got, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I got to see it in person. I will say it's definitely wider. It feels like a wider vehicle.
Okay.
And the headlights aren't as, I thought they were going to look more um like DB12. They're not as
Okay.
DB12 in the flesh when you
Okay.
see it,
Yeah.
but I do like it. I do like the new display on the inside. It definitely feels like more updated than my current car.
Okay.
And they had it in like a dark blue, and it was actually a really cool color. I never would have thought of ordering a Vantage in that color.
Right.
But I did like it. Now, I've sent you some of the pictures and stuff. What do you
Right.
think? I know you haven't seen it in person. What do you think about it?
So I haven't seen it in person. I watched a bunch of YouTubers releases on the car and everything, and dude, it looks good, man.
Yeah,
I will say they say it's a ground up refresh, right? It's still got a lot of DNA of the old car, which is
it does.
totally fine because the old car is super cool. But there's certain things about it that I'm not a huge fan of. Like I actually like the look of your front end a
Right.
little bit better than the
I do
look of
too.
the new front end. I like your headlights better. But it's a small complaint, right?
Yeah.
Overall, I think the car is pretty sick. I want to drive one. I want to see how much different it is than like the DB11. And I haven't
Yeah.
driven your car, but I'm sure it drives great.
It's
Right?
so, my friend bought the new DB12, and she had the Vantage before that. I've driven her DB12. I've obviously driven my Vantage. My
Right.
Vantage was more sporty, if you will. It was more, kind of raw than hers. If
Right.
you almost got that feeling it was more track oriented, which is how it was built.
Absolutely.
Um, Her car feels bigger, like it's noticeably larger when you're driving it.
Right. Have you driven a
Um,
DB11?
I have not driven a
Okay.
DB11.
So one day we'll just switch keys and you'll try it, see what you think about it, and see what the differences are from car
You
to
might
car.
be the only person on the planet other than the dealer that I would consider letting drive my Vantage.
Oh shucks, man. I appreciate that.
I'm just very particular
um,
about that car. But I
yeah.
will tell you, so speaking of DNA, and this is a pretty cool little tidbit. So we went to a car show on Saturday,
Okay.
right? And we get to the car show, and there was a sheriff there and another guy there, kind of older guys.
Right.
And we were talking to them, and somebody said something about my car, and he's like, "Oh, is that your Aston?" And he turns to this guy and he's like, "Let me show you a proper car." And so they walk over to see the car, and I'm like showing him the interior and everything. And he said, "What's the difference between this car and the one that was in the James Bond movie where Dave Bautista was chasing him in the Jag?" And I
Right.
said, "You know what's crazy? So in that movie, that was a DB10. They
Yep.
never made a DB10. The
Never released it.
DB10 concept from that movie became the Vantage."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, I knew this car looked familiar."
Which that car in the movie was actually based on like a DB9 at the
Yeah.
time, which
Yep.
is so crazy to think that that's how full circle that went. But dude, the Aston DNA, man, it just runs deep. It's super cool. If
It does.
you know,
Now I'll tell
if
you, the other car in that movie, the Jag
yeah,
with the
Jag.
McLaren doors, right?
Yeah.
That was such a cool car, and
Yep.
Jag never released it. Now I did find out
Yeah.
recently that there's like a handful that are in rotation that are out in the world.
Oh
I
yeah,
I
you got to
I would
have
have.
that the correct change
Right.
for those, sir.
Right. Need to have the wallet for that. I don't have the wallet for that.
Got to slap down the wallet, sir.
But I'd
Yeah,
love to see that car, and I would love it if
absolutely.
Jag would just produce that car,
Oh,
you
dude,
know?
or something close, right? Like,
Yeah.
just come out with a cool car that kinda matches that, a mid-engine something, because
not mid-engine, but I'm telling you, I know you don't like it. I know I got a
oh, I
lot of
don't
crap
do
for
it.
it. I love that Project 8. I think it's such a cool
Look,
car. It's all prototype, man. It's 600 horsepower. Thing's
look, man,
awesome.
I don't disagree with you about it being a cool car.
Yeah.
Would it be my choice over a McLaren 600 LT? We'll let the audience choose, but I can guarantee you they're going to say, hey, yeah, I'd much rather have a 600 LT than a 4-door Jaguar.
Don't make me
Anybody
put up a
out
poll.
there?
I'll do it.
Anybody out there want to go against me on this?
It's rare, man. They only made 300 of them. You know,
They only made
just
200 cool. McLaren 600 LTs. So
no, they didn't. They made more than that. I think they made
500 coupes.
Yeah, 500 coupes, 500 coupes, 500 convertibles.
I thought it was 2 and 2.
No, it's more. It's way more.
I have been bamboozled.
Yeah, it's way more.
Whatever.
So speaking of new cars, let's talk about Toyota right off the bat, right? So Toyota, and correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me what you think here, right? But I've always felt like Toyota's cars are so reliable. They're so well built that they didn't really have to do anything in the marketplace. I mean, it wasn't until like 2020 that they finally put CarPlay in their cars, right? 2021 or something like that. Because they didn't feel like they needed to. They owned the small truck market forever and a day. Like, who's buying a small truck that wasn't a Tacoma, you know?
Yeah, dude, they own that market. They make some pretty cool stuff though. Like now,
yeah. But they just came out with a refresh for the 4Runner and for the Tacoma.
Okay,
I think the new 4Runner looks really good. The interior and everything looks really good. The exterior looks more aggressive. Here's my problem though. For those of you who haven't seen it, the Toyota TRD Pro pickup truck, right, looks really good. Very aggressive looking. It's got, all kinds of great features to it, upgraded suspension, upgraded rock rails. It's such a cool looking truck.
Right.
The seats in it are really cool as well.
Okay.
But because of the way that they mounted the front seats, there's zero room in the back. There's almost as much room in the back of the Toyota Tacoma crew cab as there is in your Aston Martin DB11. Dude,
so it's an unusable
ridiculous.
Back seat. It's just a shelf with seatbelts.
It really is. And it's like, why?
That's interesting.
It seems weird that they would build it that way. But it's a super cool truck. I love everything that they did to it. But if you think about it right now, it's in a very competitive marketplace. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, 3 cars right off that match it. I mean, you got the TRD Pro, you got the Raptor, Ford Ranger.
Yep.
Chevrolet just released the Chevy ZR2 Bison edition.
Yep.
And I mean, look, man, when you're competing with all of these, you got your true like diehard people that are like, hey, man, I'm a Ford guy through and through, and I will buy the Raptor version of that. I'm a Chevy guy through and through. I'm gonna buy the Chevy version of that. But what would be the choice, man? I mean, which one is giving you more room? What are you buying it for?
I actually looked at all 3 this weekend.
Okay.
And I took some pictures of the Raptor Ranger, and I sat in the Colorado. And I got to see the new Toyota, but not the TRD Pro, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's actually kind of interesting. The Raptor Ranger, it feels like a really well done vehicle. Like the materials on the inside are really nice. The seats are really comfortable. It's got adaptive cruise, lane keeping. It's got, all the features on it, and it looks aggressive. And I will tell you, last year I went to, year before last year, I went to Thailand, and Raptor Rangers are everywhere in Thailand. They're all over the place. I probably saw like a dozen of them, right?
Is that a flex vehicle there?
I think it is. I mean, we can go into it another time, but Thailand has a really interesting car culture. Like even the taxis that take you to and from the airport, they're all like modded. They have like, systems in them and like TVs and like, aftermarket shifters and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
But I really like the tactile feel of the Ford Ranger, right?
Okay.
Now, when I went to go see the Colorado, I didn't love it as much as like from a styling standpoint.
Right.
And when I went to sit in it, I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to like this because of the way it was, the driver orientation was. Okay. And I sat it and I was like, no, this is really nice. The screen is actually really cool. It's got great, like display. The display on it's like very, very clear.
Right.
and it's very responsive. It's not laggy. It's a very nice looking truck. The problem is there just aren't that many of them. I was talking to the dealership. So the one I sat in was a Z71 with, kind of some of the upgrade packs.
Right.
It wasn't the Bison edition. They
Okay.
had an older Bison edition, and the new one looks completely different, which is, I think it actually looks better.
Okay.
But it just like, I don't know. It's not as from the outside. I almost like the look of the Ford better, but the interiors are neck and neck. I mean,
Right.
I think the screen in the Chevy's much better.
Okay.
Because it's like a big wraparound, and in the Ford, it's the one you like because it's got like the driver's screen,
Right.
and then the center stack is vertical, not
Yeah.
horizontal.
Do you think Dodge is going to come with a competitive option to kind of match these?
Well, you remember Dodge had the Dakota forever.
Well, so they kept what was really crazy is they kept the old body style Ram instead of bringing another mid-sized truck when they created the new truck.
Yeah.
So they did that for like 5 years. They were still selling. They may still sell it. I'm not positive, but they did it for like 5 years, and they sold the old body style, and they just called it the classic. And then
Right.
they sold the new body style. And you look at it though, and it's like I was just thinking about this while you were saying all this. At the price point of these vehicles, does it make sense to get that or just get a full size truck that's going to tow more? It's going to be more comfortable,
It
have more
is.
room.
Now, you're getting some stuff when you look at the Raptor Ranger and that sort of thing, right? You're getting
Right.
more aggressive off-road suspension. So if that's what you're using it for,
Right.
right? The interior does seem to be a lot more high end than even some of the nicer model Rangers.
Right.
But it's the same thing with the Bison. The Bison's giving you, magnetic suspension. It's giving you,
Right.
bigger wheels and tires. It's giving you, more travel. You're getting a lot more capability, if you will, on those
Right.
cars, including the TRD Pro, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that you're not getting though is a deal. I mean, because
Yeah. Right.
fully loaded, a Raptor Ranger 60 grand, right at 60 grand, right? And there's
Dude,
not much, to I don't know if it's a good thing or
10
a bad
grand more, you're
thing.
getting a TRX. I mean,
Well,
what?
I mean, a used
You know what I
one,
mean?
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
But
That's where my
so
money's going.
So the thing is that when you go to spec a new Raptor or a Raptor Bronco or even a Raptor Ranger, you don't have many options. You basically have
Yeah.
like color
Right.
and maybe one or two other options. It's not like us, some of the cars we've had where you get to
Yeah.
pick like every level of thing that goes into it, boom, boom, boom.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of interesting. But I don't know. I mean, I think you couldn't go wrong with any of the three. I will say I had my son sit in the back of the Ranger and the Colorado, and he felt more comfortable in the Ranger than he did in the Colorado as far as like
Right.
leg room.
Yeah.
But it was I would say that it was just as nice in both of them, right? But again,
Right.
you're looking at 60 grand for the Ranger. They didn't have the Bison there, so I don't know. He brought out the spec sheet, but even he didn't know what the MSRP was on it. And then I can tell you right now, I don't know if this still holds true, but when they had the old TRD Pro, they had that
Right.
like the acid green color.
Yeah.
And I went and saw one up at this dealership not far from my house, and they wanted $79,000 for it. Now
Oh,
there was a built-in markup on it, but it was still 79 grand. For 79 grand, you can get a full-size Raptor.
yeah. Like,
You know?
and that's the thing. All right. So let's just say they're priced $60,000 no matter which one you get. Which one would
Right.
you pick? Which one would you pick of those three?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the Colorado.
Yeah.
I do like the Colorado a
Did it have
lot. I
better
mean,
tech in it at least? That's the
it
question.
has
Like, what are you looking
it
for? Are you looking for better tech? Or are you looking for,
so
more off-road capability?
the battery was dead in the Ranger, so I didn't get a chance to play with the tech. I'm
Nice.
familiar. Well, it was in the showroom, so they disconnected the battery, right?
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get to play with the tech. But I know the tech that's in that car because
Right.
it's the same one that's in the other models.
Right.
It's okay. I'm not really a fan of the vertical screen. You know that. I like the horizontal screen better. I did feel like the interior of the Colorado felt better. Right now, the Bison apparently has better like quality leather because the one that was in there was like a vinyl, and so I think that would make the interior even better. So I might go with the Colorado.
So one thing I noticed the other day when I went to the dealership, I was just cruising through, and Ford still has the old like metal antenna, and
Yeah,
it's the only brand that does.
yeah,
Is that not
on
the
the trucks.
weirdest thing? I'm like, dude, we are in 2025 now. You know what I mean? Like,
To be fair, we were talking about this the other day.
It's just crazy.
Especially on like the Raptors. The Raptors are
Yeah.
so tall
Yeah.
that we joke around that those antennas are like the early warning system. Because
Oh,
when you pull into a
ding.
parking deck, it's like ping. You're like, oh,
Whoa.
you
Back
know?
it up.
Yeah. Oh, it's not gonna fit. I will tell you this really quick before we talk about one of the most interesting and controversial launches. But when I had my Roush F-150, we went to dinner one night and the valet was trying to park it. And I walked outside because a friend of mine was pulling up, and I look over, and this guy's standing on the running board, inching the car into the parking deck, trying to make sure it's gonna fit. And I walked over and I'm like, dude, if you have to stand on the running board to make sure it's gonna fit, just don't put it in
Just
the
don't put
parking
it
deck.
here. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
leave it
I
in
hate
leave it
valeting
in the
cars,
parking
dude.
lot. Oh.
Yeah, I hate valeting cars. I just choose to park it myself and then just, I'll pay them. You know what I mean? Like, here's the
No,
money. I parked
I'm with
it.
you.
Whatever,
Yeah.
dude. Like, not a big deal. But
I'm with you. I'll give you the money. You hold the keys. Just let me park it. Right.
yeah.
Okay. So I think probably one of the biggest announcements that came out recently, right? At least in the last few days.
Are you talking about the Ferrari?
The new Ferrari.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So let's talk about the bad part of it, right? So the bad side of it is that it's a V12, which that part's good.
Well,
But they called it the 12 cylindry.
Yeah.
Which is
like
12
and
cylinder.
whoever it is that comes up with the names, like, dude, you can do better. That you have done better in the past. Why?
Think about it. Every Ferrari has had like a Portofino or a
That's something that pulls
Modena
it
or
back
a
to the,
Berlinetta,
I watched a video
Maranello.
today about it, and it's something that just brings them back to the factory or back, just a nod, just a head nod to the Italians,
to
and like,
about
hey
their
guys,
racing history. A head nod to the racing history. Yeah.
something, and and then they're just like, hey, now we'll name it V12. Move along.
Yep.
Thank you. And also on that note, you can't just walk in the dealership and buy this V12, right? You've got to buy a list of Ferraris to get to that Ferrari.
So you say that, right? But I was reading some of the reports this morning that there are people who either haven't owned a Ferrari in years, like decades, and they're getting offers to get one of the first allocations for this car, which is telling the market that they're going to build thousands of this car, just like they did for like the Portofino and some of these other cars, right? And so people, especially in the F12 group, the F12 camp,
are mad.
Pissed.
Oh, they are mad, son.
Pissed. So I mean, that's all. So that's all the drama around it. Now, okay, we know that Ferrari knows how to make a good sounding V12, right?
Right.
So it's probably going to sound good.
Right.
It's supposed to be a completely redesigned V12, right?
It's
going to be NA.
Yeah, but another controversial part of it is they released both the coupe and convertible at the exact same time.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know why they did that.
That tells you that they're either, this is going to be a really quick, like, we're about to just flood the market with these cars.
Yeah.
And then maybe go into another car that's better. Named
so it doesn't sound like it's going to be cheap.
Oh, no. This is going to be a $500,000 car to start.
Right.
And, with options, you can go straight into the stratosphere.
Well, we know Ferrari, right? You can get a carbon fiber cup holder for like 10 grand, right? I mean,
they'll sell you the cup to match for another 10 grand, sir.
Good Lord. So, I mean, but just think about that, right? I mean, there's so many things about this that are so un-Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then looking at it, okay, so take a minute, right? Did you like think about the last Ferrari that you looked at and you're like, "Man, love it." Like love the design, right? I really like the SF90. I think that's a beautiful car,
Okay.
right? I like the 488 and the 458. I think those are
Yep.
both beautiful cars, and the
Agreed.
F8 Tributo. So
Yeah.
if you take those cars and take all the spin-offs, the Pista and the,
I
you
like the
know,
Pista. That
yeah,
is
and the Speciale,
so
right? If you
hot.
take those cars,
Yeah.
take them out, I never really loved the California.
No,
I
and
never loved the Portofino.
the
I never
Portofino,
loved the Roma.
the Roma, I just don't like the front end of the Roma.
I don't
It
like
has
the
to be
front end
the
of the Roma
right
at
color
all.
car. Like, it has to be a black car for me to be like, "Oh, okay, it's nice."
Yeah, I'm
You
not
know?
a fan of the Roma.
Yeah. It just doesn't do it for me. I don't
But I
really
don't
like
like the
front engine
296.
Ferraris to start with, though. So, for
See,
me,
I can't go with you there.
ah,
I there's something about that F12.
oh, the F12 or the
Oh,
F12 super fast. Okay. I
or the
love the
A12
style.
Superfast. Yeah. So
812 super fast. Yes.
the F12 and the A12, I like both of those cars a
Yeah.
lot. In fact, before I got my McLaren, I found one from a company that does like like upgrades as far as like redesigns. It's called
Okay.
Creative Bespoke.
Okay.
And they sold it, and then it sold on like Bring a Trailer, and then like a
Right.
dealership bought it and like maxed it out, and I was like, yeah, I know what you guys paid for this car.
So,
You know,
I guess this begs the question, man, because Ferrari, as you know, is a publicly traded company.
right?
Their stock has done exponentially well in the past few years. We're in a weird market now. Things are changing a little bit in the car scene. I mean, the last
Yep.
time we went to Ferrari, how many cars were sitting in the dealership?
Lots.
A lot. The
But
time before that, though,
that those cars that are in there, they're not new. They're
pre-owned.
all consignment vehicles.
Right. So the question is, why are they consigning all these cars? And you know what the answer is, because they want the next whatever, 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 because you
Right.
got to keep the Ferrari game going, which is
Right.
totally cool. Hey, hats off to people that can do that. You know what I mean? Like, good for you.
Not John
Hope to
and
be
I.
there one day, sir. But the question comes, like, as a publicly traded company, and they're having to meet these certain goals to, but they make so much money per car. I read
Yeah.
something the other day that Toyota has to sell 56 cars to keep up with the one profitability. So all Ferrari can do is sell one car, and they make 56 times what Toyota makes on one car,
I mean,
basically.
okay, so the serious answer to that is, I mean, I would hope so, because they're not pumping cars out of that dealership, right?
No, yeah.
The funny answer to that is yes, because when they sell that car, that person's going to buy another $100,000 worth of Ferrari merch,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
and he's just gonna so
Which,
that makes
I
up the
mean, hey,
difference.
it's cool, man. I mean, look, is it the car me and you would probably buy? Probably not, but I guarantee
No,
you there's some people out there right now that are like, "Yes, take my money."
no. Okay, so
And,
let me
you
ask
know
you. You saw the stuff. We both watched the videos and all that stuff. I
yeah,
haven't seen the car in the flesh yet,
I haven't
but
seen it yet.
did you like the look of it?
It's yeah, to an extent. Like,
I
it's
don't
kinda
like it at
cool.
all.
It's kinda cool. It's kind of a
No.
throwback to, like, the other not popular Ferraris. You know what I mean? But in a weird, cool way. It's kinda retro-y, and I think a lot of stuff, like, is going that way, like a little
I don't.
retro styling for,
I
like, the
mean, fine,
'80s.
fine. I
But,
don't like it.
look,
I don't like
well, okay, I agree, but at the same time, as we're talking about it, I'm, like, looking, I'm like, maybe not."
Yeah,
But
I don't
is
love it.
is
I'd
it
rather
a
have the F12 or the F12 TDF, or
correct, yeah.
yeah, I think that's a much better looking car, especially when
Agreed.
you get that slatted rear window. I think that's freaking awesome.
I agree with that.
So, okay. So here's this. The kind of question we're going to end this episode on. And I'd love to hear from the people who are watching this too, cuz I'm just as interested to hear what your opinion is.
Okay.
John, who do you think needs a new car in their fleet of cars? Is it McLaren? Is it Lamborghini? Is it, or who are you most excited to see a new car from that manufacturer?
I was just thinking about this while you were asking me the question right before that, and I want Aston Martin to come out with a mid-engine car that competes with the Atura, competes with the
296
296.
Ferrari. Yeah.
Anything that's mid-engine. I want it to come out and I want it to obliterate it with a V12 screaming in the behind my head.
When I think of the cars you named, I'm thinking of smaller platforms.
Yeah.
You know, the Artura is smaller.
Yeah.
The 296 is smaller. Yeah, if you wanted to build it as big as an Aventador, you could have V12 all day long.
I mean, okay,
You know?
fine. We'll say in that situation, I'd still want it to be an Aston Martin. Maybe use the V8 from the Vantage and throw it in there, and
Okay.
let's go. You know what I mean? Or even the V8 from that they're coming. Blah blah blah. Anyways, yes. I want Aston Martin to bring out a mid-engine car. I think that'd be sick.
So they are
'Cause they're the
bringing out
only
a
ones that don't.
mid-engine car. They're bringing out the
Okay.
Valhalla.
An obtainable mid-engine
They're
supercar.
building 1,000 of them, man. They're only $1 million a piece, you know.
Yeah,
but
that's right. No, I'm talking about like in the 250 mark. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like that would be super cool. Bring out
Okay.
something that me and you can walk in the dealership and possibly order at some point. You know?
Okay. I don't know, man. I think, you know, there's rumblings that McLaren's got maybe something in the pipeline. I know Aston's got a new car, a new V12, but it's going to be front engine, right? They got a new V12 that's in the mix. We'll hear more about that soon. I would be shocked if it wasn't called the Vanquish.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked if it wasn't called the Vanquish.
How long has it been since they had a Vanquish out? So they did the DB11. They haven't had a Vanquish since the DB9 platform. So it's coming.
Yeah.
It's time.
I think it's time.
Yeah. It's time.
You know, we know that Lamborghini's probably got something here to follow up the Technica.
Yeah.
Well, you got the Huracan. The Technica is the worked version
Same
of the,
but different.
It is, and to be honest with you, I like the styling of the Technica better.
Oh man, dude, a stock like just a straight up like Huracan Performante for me, dude. That would be my Lamborghini if I was to buy one in the next
get one.
2 years.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You know, the way my checking and savings is set up, it takes 3 days.
All right, I'll let them know it'll be 3 days from now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I honestly think I'm interested to see what Audi's going to come out with, you know, for the replacement of the R8. We know that there's going to be one. There's already rumblings about what it might be and how it might be configured. But
Porsche's got some stuff up their sleeve coming.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see what that looks like.
I'd like to see that. I mean, think about this though. Who doesn't have a supercar or a super sports car right now that should? One of our other episodes, you said Cadillac probably should, right?
Yeah,
have a car to compete with the Corvette.
That would be sick, man. Or even side by side car. You know what I mean? Like just a classy example of the Corvette would be pretty dang cool.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, just be something like like we talked about the XLR back in the day.
Yeah,
you know, this would be that version. Just bring it back as an XLR. I think that'd be awesome.
You know? I'd like to see Alpha
drop like an 8C again or something like that.
Build like an 8C, but maybe mid-engine like the 4C.
Oh yeah, that would be sick, man.
Right? So build a bigger platform 4C.
Supposedly that program turned into the MC20. Supposedly.
Really?
Yes. Okay. So originally that was a 4C type platform and they turned it in. It was supposed to be the 8C. They were coming back with it. And then Maserati was like, thank you.
I don't know, man. I you know, when the MC20 launched, I liked it, but it felt big. It felt really big for what it was, you know.
Dude, seeing it in person,
every time I see it, I like it more and more.
Dude, the more I think about it, like I've been 600 LT or McLaren and all that, and I think the next car might be the MC20. Like,
I mean, that'd be a cool
the way
car.
the values are going on them, I think that under 150, that number, it's a lot of car for that money.
I think at 150, I'd buy that car for that money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So right now I'm seeing them in the 190s. So we're 40 grand away. Maybe we just get rid of our current Maserati and make it happen. I don't know.
There you go. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thanks for subscribing. For those of you who don't know, we just hit 100 subscribers. So thank you, everybody, for joining. So
thanks for joining the team, people. We really do appreciate it.
We really do. I don't think you guys understand. This is just something John and I are doing for fun. We love talking about cars.
Absolutely.
And you know, we're really enjoying that. You know, people are listening. So more episodes to come. We don't have an F1 episode this week because there wasn't any race this weekend, but
Yep.
there will be a race next weekend in Imola. So that'll be a really, really good race to watch.
Really good, man.
I sent John a meme today about how to stop Verstappen from winning. We're just going to put cones all up the all up the turn, so we'll be good to go.
Heck yeah,
But
man.
thanks everybody, and we
Thank
look
y'all.
forward to talking to you again in the next episode.
See y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.